So Zillow Group has come out with this report that 53% of U.S. homes lost value in the past year. That coupled with this Forbes report said that U.S. foreclosure rates have spiked 32% from last year. So it begs the question has the housing bubble burst? Let's jump in and take a look. So if you're considering buying a home, or if you're a homeowner and you just want to understand the market better, this is what I'm here to explain right now. What is going on in the market? What's going on nationally? And how does that apply to our local market? I want to start off by talking about foreclosures. I've had a number of phone calls about foreclosures. Is it an issue? What's going on in that market? And as you can see, I have a map here of the Sacramento market. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in 30-day notice of default. So these are people that have gotten a letter from their lenders saying, you haven't made your payment in the last 30 days. What I'm finding is that these 30-day NOD letters are actually more like 60-day NOD letters because the bank is really trying to work out a way to make that payment stay current. Because when it goes to default, the bank has to turn around and put certain reserves up against that. So your $500,000 mortgage that they have out there actually turns into $1 million obligation to the bank. So they really want to make that payment stick. So that's 30 days, and that's 60 days, 90, 3 to 4 months, 4 to 6 months. So you look at all of the foreclosures, you want to say foreclosures, all of the notice of defaults out there, and there's a lot of them. But is this really leading to that spike in foreclosures? Because these are just notice of defaults. So now we've cleared the map away, and let's look at trustee auctions. And so we've gone through the 6-month notice of default, and now the bank's like, look, I'm not sticking around anymore. And now we're heading to auction. And you can see that there's not that many of them. There are not that many in our region. So is the 32% spike in foreclosures affecting Sacramento? It doesn't look like it is. It looks like the banks are really doing all they can to work out that default. And so if you're in default, I unfortunately have a ton of experience working with homeowners in default. Back in 2008, like I said, I was a lender. The market blew apart. I went from being a lender to being a short sale negotiator, a forbearance negotiator, and I know far too much about that, but I have helped a number of homeowners recently go through that process. And it's painful. You got to make some really tough decisions if you find yourself in notice of default, and certainly in trustee sale. You really don't want to go to trustee sale. You want to do everything you can to avoid that. So again, we have the headline coming out of a 32% spike in foreclosure. Doesn't really look like Sacramento is a hotbed for this. One of the states that is really being targeted for this spike is Florida. And then you couple with that 53% of homes lost value in the past year. This is from Zillow. And yeah, I'm seeing people who bought 18 months ago that are in negative equity situation. Obviously, you don't want to be that person, but I think that overall, the housing prices have come down some. So when you're talking about this, you have to go in and talk about the affordability index. What is the affordability index? It is your wages compared to what you can afford applied to the housing market. And obviously in California, the median home price is approaching 500,000, and really to afford a home as a first-time home buyer, your household really needs to make 88,000, I think is the number that's floating around up there, but I think it's about $100,000 a year combined income to be able to afford anything decent in this region. And this graph really drives the point home. You look at back here in 2020, during the pandemic, we saw a little dip in the monthly payments. And then ever since the pandemic, you've seen this steady rise. This is the monthly payment for a house in California. And it eclipsed 2,500. It's come down to a little Under 2,500, we call it 23 for argument's sake. But that's still expensive. That's expensive. If you're going to afford a $2,300 a month mortgage, assuming you don't have large car payments and credit cards and other obligations, your take home household income should be about, I call it $7,000 a month to be able to afford that comfortably. And again, that's without car payments. So let's go over and talk about the housing market itself, the inventory. We look at inventory as an indication to what home prices will do um, in the future. And so right here, I'm doing a 24-month look back. We have current for sale being the light green, we have sold being the dark green, and we have pending being the red line. And if we go back and look at this, go back 2 years, our inventories right now, right here, they're up 54%, 54.9% over this time 2 years ago. When you go back 1 year, we're up 15%. So we do have more inventory in the market, but how is that affecting price? So we go over here and look at price per square foot over that same 2 year period, and you see that prices are holding steady. What I'm finding is that a lot of buyers in today's market are in their 50s and 60s, and they are moving up or they're downsizing. And those are your buyers in this market right now. We do have first-time home buyers entering the market, and the median age for first-time home buyers right now is about 40 years old. So it's not young families in that first-time home buyer market. So we have 54% more listings in the market, more inventory out there. But this graph here shows months of inventory based on current closed sales. And you can see that the months of inventory is holding pretty steady. We don't have a huge spike in months of inventory. And so we really have mixed signals coming from the market. The point of all this is when we go back to the original premise of this being foreclosures are up 32%, we're not talking about Sacramento in that regard. I still think that there is some dangers in this market, definitely things to look out for. But that's what's going on in the Sacramento market. I am concerned about the foreclosures. If you're in foreclosure, reach out to somebody and get help. Don't go down that road yourself. Like I said, I've helped a number of people in foreclosures. There are services here in Sacramento with both Placer and Sacramento County that do offer that assistance. So if you're looking for those resources, reach out to me and I can connect you with them. But that's my take on what's going on in Sacramento as opposed to the home values. 53% of U.S. homes have lost value. Don't think that's really applying to the Sacramento market, not yet, and I hope it doesn't. And then the foreclosure. So I hope this is helpful. If you have specific questions about your real estate, about a future purchase that you have, or maybe listing your property, by all means, reach out to me. I'm always here to answer any questions that you have. So again, Alex Dyer, eXp Realty. I'll catch you on the next video.